that needs to be changed. I think I applaud the accomplishments our president, was able to get done, considering the enormous odds and forces that were fighting against him. But as Scripture says, one man plants, another man waters. God gives the increase.
Very true. Very true. Very
He
true.
inherited the absolute worst economy since the Great Depression. And he pulled this country from having another depression where we'd have to stand in food lines to get hard cheese and milk and bread, stale bread.
Yeah.
So he did that among other things. So now we have a choice in the country. Do we choose Donald Trump, who will take us back to the very same policies that caused us to be in a position we were in 2007, 2008 when the stock market collapsed? Or do we choose Hillary Clinton, who will take the foundation that the president set and build off of it?
I don't like none of them, to be honest with you, but people got to choose.
I understand. I mean, I don't. I just think if we don't vote,
yes, sir,
we're actually putting Donald Trump in. And then you got to you got to weigh. If one or the other gets in, will my life be worse than it is now?
Right.
And there's no question. Do I wish Hillary was a better candidate? Absolutely, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the pleasure of meeting her.
Okay.
When she was first lady, when she was a senator in New York. I've had the pleasure of meeting her when I lived in the East Coast.
Okay.
I wish she was a better candidate.
Right.
I do. But even on her worst, she's better than Donald Trump.
It just amazes me, though, man, that we're in this culture, though, where we have all the millions of people in the world, and that's the best we can do, though. And we got the brightest minds of this, that, and the third, and that makes it. So people say they're widely unpopular candidates, but they're still there. So obviously they were popular enough to get to that particular point, right? And so it just amazes me that we got all these people in the world, and then it still comes down to this. And 12 days from now, people are going to have to choose and still not be satisfied with the choice, but you have to choose what's in front of you. And if you don't choose, well, that's a bad choice. But if you do choose from these two bad choices, well, that's still a choice you need to make, because you make a bad choice if you don't choose. Man, that's confusing.
It is, but how I look at it, you're right. While I disagree that we have two bad choices,
yes, sir.
I think Hillary has flaws. But I also believe that the policy she will bring across, and I don't agree with everything she, I don't agree with everything.
Yeah.
Who
Who does agree with everybody?
I am against, and this is my own, personal views. I believe in a woman has a right to choose.
Yeah.
I don't think the government should tell a woman what she should do with her body.
Exactly.
I think I'm personally would rather choose life. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I think it's a woman's prerogative to make that decision on her own.
True, because it's her body.
And she has to deal with her own with the consequences spiritually for whatever decision she makes. It's not up to the government.
This is true.
I also, while I don't think that we have two bad choices, I also believe that people, our forefathers, marched, went to jail, had dogs sicked on them, water hoses turned on them. In some places where they could vote, they had to pay a poll tax in order to vote.
Mm-hmm. Vote
or they had to take a literacy test before they could vote.
Yep.
And if they had enough money to vote and they were smart enough to vote, to know what to vote for, when they got to the polls, there were people standing there with guns and and things intimidate them either to not vote or vote how they wanted them to vote.
Right.
It is to pay forward what people have done for us to give us this privilege. It is our duty to stand in the line and vote. It is our duty not to stay home on election day.
I can dig
it. It is our duty.
I can dig it. I hear you, man. I can dig that part of it. I personally think, though, that local elections have more effect than a national election because you got the electoral college and all that other kind of stuff. I think personally, like even my own personal thing, like in local election in my neighborhood, they do something with roads and stuff like that. I see them fixing on the roads. I see them fixing on the street. I see the constable presence, you know. So nationally, even though, yeah, they say it's important to vote and stuff like that, but I don't know the immediate effects of that, you know, depending on the policies and stuff like that. I just think that local elections, I think, have a better effect because you can get a more immediate gratification of that vote. You see what I mean?
Well, all politics are local.
True.
Politics start locally. So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You have a greater effect locally than you do nationally.
Mm-hmm.
But that's even more reason why more of our people need to become educated on the science of politics in America, the history of politics in America. And you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be, you know, a college professor.
Yeah.
We have something at our disposal that gives us every bit of information we need. It's called
Google.
Google. Now, what's funny, we can look up pornography. We can look up rap videos.
Bunch of that.
We can look at ratchet stuff, people twerking and all that other stuff. And
if it ain't twerking, they ain't working.
we like to look at media takeout and TMZ to see the latest gossip on Beyonce and
plenty of time
Nicki
on that.
Minaj and all this, and Jay-Z and Lil Wayne and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Take that effort and look up, you know, the history of voting in America. Look up voter suppression in America.
Yeah.
Look up, you know, research what happened to black folk after Reconstruction. What happened to black folk after slavery? What caused, you know, Jim Crow to be the order of the day, specifically in the southern part of America. And why do you know? Look, it takes an effort. We got Google on our phones.
This is true. But see,
you don't have a library card.
But as you say though, you take time for what's important to you, though, right? If it's important to you to know that, that's cool. But a lot of times I see that we're okay with just having a conversation. We're okay with talking about hustling. We're okay with talking about grinding. We don't really have to do it. We okay with those conversations. I think that's what happened throughout the years. We were okay with just talking about it and not getting beyond the talk, beyond the rhetoric. Only a few people. Like when they killed off our leaders that wanted us to make decisions better, nobody else stood up.
Right.
So I think that's part of the plan.
But a lot of that becomes, and we let other cultures define our leaders.
Bingo.
Martin Luther King was safe if all he was talking about integration.
Exactly.
Martin Luther King became a danger to those in power in America when he started talking against two things: economic oppression and the war in Vietnam.
Exactly. That 1964 speech got him killed.
Yes, sir.
Not the I Have a Dream one that they talk about. That's the, like you say, that's the safe speech. Let's talk about Memphis.
It was 1967.
Mm-hmm.
He gave a speech in Harlem, New York, at a church, not Harlem, in Manhattan, at a church that wanted him to be their pastor. And he gave a sermon/speech on the war of Vietnam and economic inequality. That's when he became the most dangerous man in America.
You start talking about the economics of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to hurt if you really, really, really want to, get equality, start supporting black business.
Exactly.
Keep your money and keep it in our community.
Yeah.
Do you see? And here's another thing: what our people don't know. There was a black community.
Yeah, Black Wall Street.
In the 1920s, Tulsa was Black Wall Street.
Little Africa.
We didn't need them. We didn't need their money. We didn't need their banks. We didn't need their schools.
Yes.
We didn't need anything. We had everything in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in this little black community called the Black Wall Street.
Yes. And then what happened?
They got mad because the dollar
circulated.
Is what they care about.
It circulated in the black community over a year, that same dollar. Right now, they say that dollar is in the black community 15 minutes.
No, it's gone.
It's gone. If that. So that's what I'm saying. We get mad, but we don't have enough, as you say earlier, we don't have enough unity or stand power to have a revolution. We can talk about a revolution all day. Okay, right now, I don't like how Walmart treat me. So how many people can really not go to Walmart for Walmart to say, hey, you know what? We really need to change our policy. Look how much money we lost this quarter.
When we put Martin Luther King on the map, was what happened in Montgomery. When Rosa Parks was arrested for failing to give up her seat to a white man on a bus. And Martin Luther King and the Montgomery Improvement Society came up with the idea to boycott buses, walk, carpool,
right,
and get where you got to go, but don't get on their buses. When that happened, for 1 year, black folk did not get on buses in Montgomery, Alabama.
Lost money.
It changed their laws simply because they could not make a profit. You want to hit them in the pocket.
Right.
It'll change a whole lot of things.
That strategy works. But because right now it's so much divide and conquer, it's hard to get enough people together to really do what you said right there to be effective. I think it's coming, though, because I'm just in the mix. I'm just seeing more and more people with consciousness, more and more people saying they want to do something different. So I'm thinking it's coming. It's just going to take a little more time. It's going to take a little more time for what I'm seeing.
Well, I agree, but it's going to take like we talked about, it's going to take a consciousness. It's going to take a desire of our people understanding that if we pool our resources together, like I'm going to throw this out. We have in Crockett 15 black churches. If every black church took their money out of these banks, started a consortium of churches, created a credit, like it's not a credit, it's I can't think of the term, but it's a credit union.
Like a credit union?
That's the word.
Yeah.
Create their own consortium credit union.
Right.
Where every week we take our tithes and offerings that we raise at our church and put it in that consortium. That gives us economic power.
Exactly. Little by little.
So now lending companies will come to us and say, what do y'all want to do with all this money you got? What do you want to build? We'll give you $100 million to build a state-of-the-art community center, community campus complex. We'll give you $100 million to let a black-owned factory come in to your city.
That's what Croc needs,
man.
Create
jobs.
That's what Croc needs, man. I grew up down there, man. I love that city.
But they won't. It won't happen.
Because
I'm gonna tell you why. It won't happen because
Right.
there's